I'm Brett Baer in Washington, and this is a Fox News election alert. It's 7 p.m. in South Carolina, where polls are now closed, and Fox News can project that former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton will easily win the Palmetto State's Democratic presidential primary, beating Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders by a wide margin. The win gives Clinton significant momentum as she heads into the crucial Super Tuesday contest next week, where hundreds of delegates are up for grabs in southern states with significant African-American populations, a major force in Clinton's win today. Clinton has now won 3 out of 4 early state contests, having already racked up victories in Iowa and Nevada. Sanders, a Democratic socialist, won big in New Hampshire, but appears to be at a disadvantage heading into Super Tuesday. We are told Secretary Clinton will deliver a victory speech sometime this hour, and we will bring that to you here on Fox News. Let's bring in our panel tonight. For reaction, Steve Hayes, senior writer for the Weekly Standard, A.B. Stoddard, associate editor of The Hill, Ron Fournier, senior political columnist of National Journal, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. A.B., you look at the exit polls, it was overwhelming, especially in the black community. 86% of those, 84% to 16 for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, she does have a firewall, and it held up for her. And he did not break through the way he intended to, and he had hoped for. What's interesting is also she has better honest and trustworthy numbers in this election than she has in the past 3, mostly because black voters trust her more, but some white voters too. He did win independents. He won, though they lined up on their sort of partisan philosophy pretty well the same with education and income. Democrats who wanted change chose Sanders. White men chose Sanders. White women split 50-50 between Sanders and Clinton. So things to see here. But as they go forward, she has, after a bitter and ugly loss here in South Carolina, come out with a resounding victory from the voters who rejected her from Obama in 2008.
Ron, we're looking live at Clinton campaign headquarters. They have the word. I don't know if they're watching Fox News Channel or not,
I'm sure
but
they are, yeah.
I think they might be. They got the word, and now Clinton has won 3 of 4, and she is in a better position than perhaps she was just, a week ago.
Oh, definitely. This race is now hers to lose. Her biggest impediment really is the FBI primary, whatever comes out of the investigation, if anything. Like A.B. said, she's done better among African Americans than Obama did in 2008. There's actually a smaller percentage of African Americans voting the South Carolina primary, which I got to think probably means there's probably fewer white voters in Democratic primary, maybe because of how the party's changed under Barack Obama. Looking ahead, if you look at the states coming up and you put the ones that are most likely going to go to Sanders and most likely to go to Hillary Clinton, we're looking at her getting 622 delegates probably. He might get half of that, maybe around 350, 370. And then it doesn't go any better going forward because of these demographics really play to her advantage. So unless something really big changes, she's going to be the nominee.
Charles.
And he's going to stay in it. He's won. The only good thing in these results is among white voters, where he did. Sanders did very well in Iowa and elsewhere. He was up by 16 points, which means in states outside of the South that are less heavily tilted towards African Americans in the Democratic electorate, he will do reasonably well, and he's going to have his victories. But I think Ron is right. The only thing that's going to stop her is going to be the Comey primary. He's head of the FBI. If there's a criminal referral, that's the lightning strike that would elevate somebody like a Sanders. He's got the money. He doesn't have to go out and campaign from fat cats. He's got the biggest and most successful internet fundraising machine ever, which means he'll be able to go everywhere, and he will stay in it until the end, even if he only ends up as a number 2 and will speak for a movement.
Yeah, there are some, as we pointed out here, Steve, some elements in here that are troubling. The young vote, again, overwhelmingly goes to Bernie Sanders, 70-30, 65-35. And as A.B. mentioned, white men and white women. White men, almost 70-30 there against Hillary Clinton.
I would argue that those are potentially troubling for Hillary Clinton in a general election at this point.
That's what I mean.
The race turns tonight. I mean, this is now a totally different race than it was coming out of New Hampshire. Hillary Clinton cleaned up. I mean, you can go and you can look at issues, you can look at candidate qualities, except for honest and trustworthy, where A.B. pointed out it's closer, much closer. Bernie Sanders beat her among people who said that honest and trustworthy was the most important candidate quality, but only 52 to 48. In New Hampshire, the gap was 92 to 6. But among all other categories, Hillary Clinton won clean and decisively. What I find most interesting about these results today is 62% of the vote today was African American. In 2008, in the Democratic primary, when people had an opportunity to vote to send Barack Obama to the Democratic nomination to potentially become the first black president in the history of the country, the turnout was 55%. So more people, 7% more people came out today than came out then. I just think this is a very different race. It should be.
The Democratic Party has changed there.
The Democratic Party has clearly changed. One last point. If you look at Bernie Sanders' key issue, remember Hillary Clinton's been hitting him repeatedly on being a single-issue candidate, in effect, talking about income inequality, basically nothing else. Hillary Clinton beat him in South Carolina on income inequality, 56 to 44.
Yeah, that's the question, whether his focus on the Wall Street speeches really, it didn't seem to show up in these results in any place yet. But there are other states that it could factor into as you look at, he's trying to pick off states like Minnesota, obviously up near Vermont, where he's home.
I think he's going to be in Minnesota tonight.
Massachusetts.
Actually, his income inequality numbers against her in Nevada were great, even though he lost to her. He had a much stronger margin over her on that issue. So it is going to obviously continue to be the sort of narrative and theme of his campaign. What we're going to watch is how hard he pushes on the Wall Street speeches. I mean, that's what he's, you know, as he tries to hold on, as he slides down the tunnel walls, is he going to actually come out and really swing hard at her as he tries to win Oklahoma, Colorado, Minnesota, and these places where he's more viable?
Ron, is Barack Obama Hillary Clinton's real firewall?
In a certain extent, that he's very popular with the Republican Party. I think it's more.
With the Democratic Party.
I'm sorry, the Democratic Party.
I was going to say, I'm not sure. I don't think that's accurate.
You can fact check, huh? But I think it's more that what we're seeing here in South Carolina, that she's got this kind of support with the African American vote and the older voters, which tend to come out in the Democratic primary. The states you just mentioned, you're right, are going to be very appealing to Sanders. Massachusetts, Vermont, Oklahoma, Minnesota, Colorado. The problem is we're only talking about 350, 370 delegates there. She's going to clean up the rest. So what I find interesting, you look at both these races, we have Sanders, who really hasn't come as hard on Hillary as he could and as he should if he really wanted to win. And we have the entire Republican Party hasn't come as hard on Trump until these last few minutes, so last few races. So we're very likely to have a general election fight between Trump and Hillary Clinton, two of the most untrustworthy, disliked, most polarizing candidates in our lifetime.
You're getting ahead of yourself there on the Republican side. But the question about running for Barack Obama's third term, I think that's exactly right. I mean, that's what she's clearly doing. She's embracing him at every turn. She's embracing him on virtually every issue. She's trying to recreate Barack Obama's coalition. I think, judging from the results tonight, doing it successfully, at least here. But what I found interesting, the other thing I found interesting in these exit polls is if you ask people to describe their political philosophy, liberal, moderate, conservative, Hillary Clinton, 51% of this electorate said that they were liberal. Hillary Clinton doubled Bernie Sanders among self-described liberals, 64 to 36. I mean, that is as clean and clear and convincing a win as you can possibly have, particularly given New Hampshire and Iowa.
And we will talk about the Republican side, and obviously there's a groundswell of support for Donald Trump who do believe that he's trustworthy, and that showed up in entrance and exit polls in past contests. And we'll talk about all of that coming up. Charles, what were you going to say?
Let me just say, I think where we are now is where we were at the beginning of this race. Bernie Sanders has a very narrow appeal. White liberals, particularly on the coast, and the young, the college towns. That has never changed. It's as clear as bell here. If you take away the African American vote, you are left with Sanders ahead, but you can't take it away. It's the bedrock of the party. In Nevada, it was shown that on Hispanics, where we assumed that Hillary would have a huge lead, it looks at sort of a mixed result. It was a small sample, but at least it looks like they broke even. But his appeal is limited, and it can't go anywhere beyond that. The Goldman Sachs speeches aren't going to change that. With income inequality, he's gone as far as he can go, and this is how it's going to be all the way through, which means that the more northern states with the fewer African Americans will go to Sanders, and Hillary's going to get all the rest.
One of the storylines that we talked about earlier in previous contests was that Democrats had a lower turnout than Republicans. It does not appear at this point that South Carolina is on the same track. Everything anecdotally is that the turnout was pretty high. Absentee ballots, they set a record tonight. 54,000 absentee ballots were cast Saturday. Back in 2008, which was very invigorated by the Barack Obama candidacy, it was 35,000 absentee ballots. And anecdotally, we're getting from different board, county chairs and election officials that turnout will be high today on the Democratic side.